Hey folks, Joe going rogue here on a Friday. Got a funny story for you. I think you'll think it's quite humorous and maybe learn something inside the story. First of all, hey, my daughter, she's 23. She lives in Idaho. She's a chemical engineer from Purdue University. Very proud of her. She has a great job with a chemical company out in Idaho. Last week she had a filling fall out of her tooth. Just fell out, filling she's had for probably 15 years or so. Came out, she went to the dentist and they determined that she needed a crown. I legitimately believe she needed a crown. She has great dental insurance. That's fantastic. The procedure cost about $1,000, but her portion of that was just $300, okay? And after the procedure, she was checking out with the receptionist at the dentist office. And the receptionist proceeded to tell her about the numerous payment plans that they had at their location. You can pay monthly, you can pay quarterly, you can even pay annually. It depends on what you want to do, which plan do you want. My daughter replied, "No, I'll just pay for it now." The receptionist looked at her confused and said, "No, you don't understand. This is $300. We have payment plans. Which one fits you the best? How do you want to pay this?" And Kaylee just said, "Well, no, I'll just pay for it." The receptionist, a third time, looking very confused, just said, "You want to pay for it now? What? What is this?" Kaylee said, "Yes." Well, then she proceeded to pay and she left. Well, she called me that evening just to talk about the experience, to see what was going on. This is Joe Kuhn of Lean Driven Reliability, bridging the gap between best practices that you should be doing in reliability and just can't quite figure it out how to get it done. You haven't, seen a reliability culture before and you need some pointers on how to get it done in your culture. Reach out to me, I'll give you a hand, okay? I help an enormous number of people every week. People from 100% reactive maintenance to people that are doing best practices. Believe me, you won't surprise me and you won't stump me. I challenge you to stump me with something I haven't heard before or worked through before. Hey, I got 34 years of doing this globally and as an execution person in charge of a department, in charge of maintenance, in charge of production, in charge of plants, okay? So, hell, my daughter's name is Kaylee. She asked me what this conversation was about, and I said, "Hey, Kaylee, three things. Number one, very few people in this country, in the United States, can afford to pay an unexpected bill for $300. That's just a fact. I think the number's like 60% of the people can't afford a $400 emergency spend. The payment plan that she was trying to be sold actually comes with high interest. I don't know if it was 15, 20, 25%, but I guarantee it was a ridiculous amount of interest on that because there's no collateral. Collateral can't be your tooth. Good collateral like a car or house lowers those interest payments. I also suspect that and this is a pure suspicion, that the receptionist gets some sort of commission for selling those payment plans. If you know that, hey, leave me a note in the comments. So I've been talking to my kids for decades about money. I really started when they were 5, 6, 7 years old, started exposing them to money, not trying to create, capitalist dogs or anything like that, but just to start the education process around managing money. This was another adult experience, and that's what my daughter calls it, that goes with all my teachings. I've had other talks on cars. You've heard me talk about cars before, clothes, college loans, investing, paying yourself first, all those things that come with good money management. Hey, and another one, don't buy a dog with a payment plan. There's a sign that you're doing something wrong. If you find out you have a payment plan for the new dog that you want, you may be doing something wrong, okay? Dave Ramsey, a great, person that has influencing how people spend money in this country. And, he has radio shows, he has YouTube, he's got books. I got a few of them on my shelf over there. He has these baby steps. I think there's 10 of them. Number one baby step is to have a $1,000 emergency fund to handle things like this, because the interest payments that come along with this are just ridiculous. That's the one thing that can stand in your way of financial success, is not having $1,000 because you keep paying 25% interest on all these surprise things that come up. Hey folks, this is not a story of my daughter's income. You may be saying, well, she's a chemical engineer, she can afford everything. Believe me, folks, this problem with spending and living above your means and baby steps is not unique to people that make over $100,000 or under $100,000, and those over never have these problems. There's something called lifestyle creep that sets in, and you spend what you make. This is an example of living below your means, having an emergency fund. Too many are focused on, I want entertainment now and I need more stuff now to drive my happiness. Lifestyle creep, it hits everybody that makes any level of income. Lifestyle creep. Think of professional athletes. They're a football player. We got the Super Bowl this weekend. Those people make $10 million a year. How many of them are bankrupt 5 years after they retire? A lot. I've seen an ESPN show on that. Hey folks, I'm 56. There's 3 truths about money I want to talk about, and happiness. Happiness does not come from stuff. I'm telling you, buying more stuff, very short-term gratification, 2 weeks later, it's not worth near the price that you pay for it. It does not come from stuff. Happiness does not come from impressing people with your cars, your clothes, your houses, and your toys that you have. It doesn't come from that. Happiness doesn't come from a focus on instant gratification and instant entertainment. It just doesn't come from there. The irony is these areas of focus, like impressing people, buying more stuff, instant gratification, those actually push you in the opposite direction of happiness and success over time. They push you in the opposite direction, but short term, there's a spike, okay? Instant gratification, good short term, horrible long term. Happiness and success, and this is Joe's opinion, comes from lifelong learning. The joy of the journey of life in the pursuit of long-term goals, raising a stable family, a happy kids, a happy marriage, pursuit of a career, those long-term goals, long-term relationships, having a friend that you've had for 50 years and being just as close now, that's success. When you're 80, that's what you're going to look at, that 50-year-old, 60-year-old friend that you had. Helping others succeed. I get tremendous amount of joy out of helping others succeed. That's the main purpose of this YouTube channel. I don't get paid. Number 5, finding your meaning and your unique purpose in life. That's where I believe, my challenge to you get happiness from. Those 5 things. Lifelong learning, the joy along the journey of those long-term goals. It's not a death march to retirement. I've gotten some of those comments. Hey, why should I fight and struggle for 40 years to have a retirement? Folks, the journey is the joy, okay? Helping others succeed, finding your meaning and unique purpose. Hey folks, the title of this video is You Gotta Get Weird, okay? Weird is what delivers success financially and, I believe, happiness. From a financial standpoint, get the skills that you need in a field that you love, that the world needs, where you get paid. And, this is kind of optional. I'm kind of targeting you folks that are 40 plus, perhaps where you can be in the best 5% in your field. So if you're a hairdresser, how do you be the best 5% in your field? If you're a welder, HVAC installer, how do you be the best in your field? If you're a maintenance employee, a maintenance supervisor, maintenance planner, how do you be the best 5% in your field? If you can attain that status, I'm telling you, the money and satisfaction will come. Okay, that's get weird number 1. Get those skills. Live below your means. Everybody says this. A couple more examples. Drive that old reliable car. You've heard that. Hey, a new one. I was thinking about this while creating this video. Hey, my wife has cut my hair, and I've cut my hair for the last, I'll say 35 years. Now you may not want my hairstyle, but I'm telling you, $25 a month, every month, it's not about the amount of savings. It's a philosophy is, hey, my wife can cut my hair. I can cut my hair. I don't need to pay that money. okay? I have one suit, folks, that I bought secondhand. You know, I wear a suit 2, 3 times a year. I don't, you know, it looks great, looks fine. It's not $1,000 suit, but you know, how many $1,000 suits do you have in your closet? Okay, how many times you wear them? Okay, max out your 401k, go Roth if you can. Increase your skill set each week. Do you have, and you got to enjoy learning. I thrive on learning. A lot of books back there, books on tape, YouTube. I mean, I'm a junkie. I'm retired, semi-retired, and I probably learn at least 3 hours a day. Probably more. That's probably a minimum. I'm trying to learn something 3 hours a day. You know, so increase your skill set. There's YouTube out there. Folks, you have no excuse. You got in your pocket, you know, instant access to information to make you better this week than you were last week. There's absolutely no excuse. 30 years ago was much harder. You know, you had to go to a university to get that education. You know, you had to go to the library, you know. Now you can do it while you're watching a soccer game, okay? There's no excuse for not learning right now. Start a business, retire early with a part-time gig in that area where you're one of the top 5% in your field. That's the key to early retirement, folks, in my opinion. Getting that little side hustle that you love doing where you're helping people and you're one of the best in your field. Don't let fear of failure overwhelm your passion to succeed. Folks, most people are scared. They want to take the safe route. Hey, you know, passion for succeeding. Let it overwhelm your fear of failure. Fear of failure stops us from doing so many things, and we do the easy route. Look for instant gratification. Hey, folks, that's going weird. Those are my 6 things going weird. Normal. Okay, let's say you want to be normal. Here's what you need to do to be normal. You need to have 3 credit cards with a balance of $20,000 total. Okay? You need to have a mortgage. You need to have 2 car payments, at least 2 car payments. You need to have a $200 cable bill with HBO and all these other things on it. You need to be living paycheck to paycheck. And you need to have, at 60 years old, you need to have a 401k balance, total savings for retirement of about $50,000. And you need to be complaining weekly that life is not fair. That's what normal looks like. Folks, you know, do you want success? You're going to have to get weird. This is Joe out.